Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing, Inc.
Barbados to get financial help from the Inter-American Development Bank. That's our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Tuesday, June 20th. From the CMC News Center in Bridgetown, I'm Nicole Best. Good evening. Barbados is in the process of reviving its loan facility with the Inter-American Development Bank, the IDB. Addressing the media on Wednesday following a meeting with the bank's president, Prime Minister Mia Mottley said the country has had a loan facility in excess of $190 million with the financial institution approximately 5 years ago, and now its $135.7 million has not yet been disbursed. She said the country's disbursement rate is 13%, making it among the lowest in the hemisphere. The Prime Minister added that between 2016 and 2017, 5 of Barbados's loans with the IDB have been cancelled.
And as a result, there are at least 3 major loans that are at risk that we are going to have, and we've undertaken with the bank to try to put them in good shape again, even if it means some tweaking. And I refer to a loan to strengthen human and social development in Barbados. That is 90% of that remains undisbursed, and that loan was signed since September 2015. The road rehabilitation program, which is $25 million and $24.7 million remains undisbursed. In other words, we spent $300,000 even though that loan was signed in November 2015.
Mottley disclosed that among the agreed loans from the IDB was a $34 million renewable energy loan signed 2 years ago, but only $2 million has been disbursed so far. She says the situation is untenable and must be addressed with urgency. But the Barbadian leader is grateful for a credit contingency facility from the IDB, which can be accessed if the country were to suffer a natural disaster.
Is that the bank does have available a mechanism that we need to discuss with them, a credit contingent facility that in the event of a hurricane, God forbid, and that's my greatest fear for this year, but in the event of a hurricane, that the bank will disburse, or any natural disaster for that matter, 2% of GDP again in credit to allow the country to be able to move expeditiously, to be able to meet the immediate concerns and needs. As I said, the issue of property and life are absolutely important to us to take care of in a disaster.
Meanwhile, IDB President Luis Alberto Moreno says the bank is willing to help Barbados through its period of economic restructuring, but he says it has to be a collective effort.
This is an effort where everybody has to chip in. This is an effort of the whole of society of Barbados, and in that context we realize, as she does, that there are people in Barbados who are going to be suffering that require a response. And in that regard, we are thinking and working and will be working on ways to help them those social safety nets. But we have many challenges at the same time.
Moreno says the bank's support will go beyond the balance of payment support.
It will be supporting all of the development issues of the country. And this is where dealing with natural disasters, dealing with the needs that every person in Barbados knows, the lack of roads or the lack of quality of roads, the problems of water and sanitation, the problems of education. All of these challenges, especially as we look at this revolution of technology that we're living, how we can deal with this fourth industrial revolution. And in this regard, we have some ideas that we're going to be working together with the Prime Minister.
U.S. oil giant ExxonMobil has struck oil in Guyana again, this time at the Longtail-1 exploration well. This is the 8th such discovery. ExxonMobil's partner, Hess Corp, said in a press release that the discovery creates the potential for additional resource development in the southeast area of the Stabroek Block. President of ExxonMobil, Steve Greenlee, said the Longtail discovery is in close proximity to the Turbot discovery southeast of the Liza field, and he says the drilling results are under evaluation, but the combined estimated recoverable resources of Turbot and Longtail are expected to exceed 500 million barrels of oil equivalent. ExxonMobil is making plans to put a second exploration vessel offshore Guyana. This is in addition to the Stena Carron drill ship, bringing the total number of ExxonMobil ships on the Stabroek Block to 3. The new vessel will operate in parallel to the Stena Carron to explore the block's numerous high-value prospects. Failure to support the Bahamas government's proposed hike in VAT from 7.5% to 12% has cost 3 senior officials their jobs. The Cabinet Office has confirmed that the appointments of Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Social Services and Urban Development, Vaughan Miller, Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Tourism, Travis Robinson, and Chairman of the Hotel Corporation of the Bahamas, Frederick McAlpine, have been revoked. Altovise Munnings of ZNS Network News reports.
The Cabinet Office in the statement indicated that under the provisions of the Manual of Cabinet and Ministry Procedure, Part 2, Section 3, Item 21, parliamentary secretaries, like cabinet ministers, are bound as a condition of their continuance in office to support government decisions in public. Now, this action comes just hours after these members of parliament voted against the government's intention to increase value-added tax to 12% starting July 1st during the vote on the 2018-2019 budget in the House of Assembly.
Premier of the British Virgin Islands, Dr. Orlando Smith, will not lead his National Democratic Party, the NDP, into the next general election, which is constitutionally due next year. He announced in a broadcast late Monday that he will not be seeking re-election as party leader when the NDP holds its convention this coming weekend. The 73-year-old Smith said he made the decision after much thought and prayer and discussions with family and colleagues. But he said he intends to continue working in the interest of the BVI.
And I'm grateful for the 1 year we have left in this government's term. A year that I'm committed to making a time of relentless effort to continue down the path to recovery. There's so much more work left to do. With this decision, I'll be free to dedicate 100% of my time and attention to that task. I will try to do so, as I always have, with humility and with a promise that while I may never be free of mistakes or missteps, I will always seek to do the right as God chooses to show me the right. I look forward to that work ahead. And I look forward to the bright future that we, the people of the BVI, will build together.
The only confirmed contenders to succeed Smith as NDP leader are Education Minister Myron Walwyn and Health Minister Ronnie Skelton. During this weekend's convention, candidates will also be contesting the offices of Vice President, Secretary, Deputy Treasurer, Deputy Chaplain, and Chairman of the Youth Movement and Chairman of the Women's Association. Sir Fred Gollop, former chairman of the Caribbean news agency Kana, has died. Sir Fred, an attorney and Queen's Counsel, served as Kana's chairman from 1997 to 2005. He was the chairman of the Nation Group of Companies for 34 years, having started the newspaper in 1973. Sir Fred also served on the boards of many corporations in the public and private sectors, including First Caribbean International Bank Limited and Fortress Fund Managers Limited. He was also a director of the Central Bank of Barbados. Additionally, Sir Fred served as a commissioner on the Judicial and Legal Services Commission of the Caribbean Court of Justice and was also president of the Barbados Senate from 1994 to 2008. In remembering him on Wednesday, Barbados Prime Minister Mia Mottley said he served with distinction in the legal and political fraternities.
Was ever there when it came to the issue of solving and resolving policy, writing manifestos, and indeed he served with distinction as President of the Senate for 3 terms and acted as Governor General on numerous occasions. We will miss him dearly. To his family, his wife Yvonne Lady Gollop, and to his 3 daughters, his grandchildren, we extend our deepest condolences.
And still to come in Caribbean Newsline, Barbados' Prime Minister wants to deepen cooperation with the OECS. Stay with us. There's more news after the break.
It starts from sunrise, a city filled with an island vibe, music, people, color, friendship, culture, and the warmest of smiles. Come enjoy the unique costumes, pulsating steel pans, exotic culture, exciting fetes, and unforgettable people. Discover Antigua's Carnival, the Caribbean's greatest summer festival, July 27th to August 8th, because the beach really is just the beginning.
Do you wish to combine a vacation with pure laughter? Then St. Martin is the place to be on June 22nd and 23rd for the 14th annual edition of its comedy festival, Laugh Till Belly Burst, with comedians from all over the world. Book hotel and show tickets until June 20th now at www.ltbbsxm.com.
Well, all right, so I guess I'm going to tell you from me sitting in the audience and actually watching it.
Exactly.
So, one of the things that I hardly ever get to do is watch myself perform.
So how was that?
It's weird because you're sitting there, you're nervous, and you're like, you don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
You're like, oh my God, did I say the line right? Did it come off good? Was it authentic? Will the audience feel it? Those are my thoughts, you know? While everyone else is just in the moment and watching.
Right.
Barbados' Prime Minister Mia Mottley has signaled her intention to deepen political and economic cooperation with the 9-nation Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, the OECS. In her first address outside of Barbados since assuming office last month, Mottley told the 65th meeting of the OECS Authority in St. Lucia that her administration wants mutually beneficial solutions to critical issues such as climate change, freedom of movement, and transportation challenges. The Barbadian leader told the gathering that movement through the region is a pressing concern. She pointed specifically to the inability of travelers who are in transit in Barbados for more than 2 hours to clear immigration and leave the airport.
If you are there for longer than 2 hours, continues to be of major concern to many of our citizens.
And on the issue of inter-island transportation, Mottley said she looked forward to engaging with the OECS leaders and particularly LIAT shareholders about the carrier's future. She contended that the modalities that were relevant decades ago cannot apply going into the 3rd decade of the 21st century.
Of governance structures, while at the same time recognizing how we operate, is absolutely critical if we are to ensure the viability of an airline that is really the lifeblood of this region. Similarly, it is time that we stop talking about inter-island ferry transportation and do it. I am aware that unless we move to the stage where we can facilitate the movement of not just people, but the movement of vehicles and the movement of cargo, we will not get the full benefit of the space that we have the honor to occupy.
And while Prime Minister Mottley spoke about relations between OECS and Barbados, outgoing OECS Chairman St. Lucia's Prime Minister Alan Chastanet also put the spotlight on the region's relationship with the international community. He argued that the international political climate is no less hostile than the natural environment, and he outlined the challenges which Caribbean countries face.
While we have defined climate change as an existential threat, so too is the denial of ready access to ODA resulting from the graduation of our member states to middle income status, the arbitrary and unilateral blacklisting of our countries as non-cooperative tax jurisdictions, or the removal of correspondent banking arrangements. This situation is exacerbated by the evident absence of the indication of the inclination to or opportunity for dialogue or the representation of our interest at the tables that truly matter. All too often, we as small states are invited to meetings in which we're literally given 3 minutes to make a presentation, as if that is to satisfy us. And then we are further insulted because they don't even listen to what you say. They believe that the fact that they've just given you the opportunity to note down your interest, but nobody's really taking you on.
Chassanet has therefore urged the region to revisit its relationships with its partners and agree on ways that can be improved. The Jamaica government will not be insisting on the recommendation of a 5-year timeline for the implementation of the CARICOM Single Market and Economy, the CSME. Prime Minister Andrew Holness made the disclosure on Tuesday as he closed the debate on the CARICOM report in Parliament. The report was prepared by a commission chaired by former Prime Minister Bruce Golden. Among other things, the report recommended that Jamaica should withdraw from the CSME if it cannot get CARICOM heads of government to agree to fully implement the single market and economy. Holness says that it's not realistic to pursue a single economy within the next 5 years.
Almost an impossibility now to seek to harmonize economic policy as it relates to, for example, fiscal policy. So we wouldn't want to contemplate that. So what the government has said is that we will seek to get commitments from the various heads for the full and effective implementation of the common market, which are things that we can do within the 5 years.
But the Jamaican leader once again defended his administration's position on participating in CARICOM.
Expressions that have come sometimes would seek to indicate that there is some reluctance on this side to fully participate in CARICOM. By this debate, Mr. Speaker, I wish to put pay to such thought that there is no reluctance on this side to participate in CARICOM.
There's been a reduction in the number of Jamaicans denied entry to Trinidad and Tobago, and that's according to Jamaica's Foreign Affairs Minister, Kamina Johnson-Smith. In 2016, 416 Jamaicans were denied entry, but last year that number stood at 289, and Johnson-Smith says the numbers continue to trend downward.
According to PICA, 63 Jamaican nationals were denied entry in the first quarter of this year, 2018. And while we can't predict what will happen by the end of the year, certainly if this trend continues, then the reduction continues. And what we're also pleased to advise is that together with the training that has been implemented on the Trinidadian side, and which is being implemented across the region, including in Jamaica, and together with the information that the ministry has been sharing about things that people need to know in taking responsibility when they travel, we anticipate that this cooperation between public information as well as training and governmental responsibility among member states, that this will, of course, reduce some of the friction that exists. In fact, I'm not sure if we have any complaints now, apart any new complaints for this year, although there is one case in respect of Barbados that has carried over from last year to this year. So we're making progress.
And ahead in Newsline Sport, the ICC to introduce a World Test Championship and a one-day international league. The details of that story and more after the break.
This hurricane tip comes to you compliments the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency and the Caribbean Media Corporation. Be prepared. A hurricane watch means there is a possibility of a hurricane within 36 hours.
Violence in schools, media hype or reality? That's the topic for discussion in the next UNICEF-sponsored Activate Talks right here on Carib Vision. Activate Talks is a global series by UNICEF designed to spark discussion on issues affecting children and youth. So join us at 8 p.m. on Wednesday, June 27th and find out about violence in schools, media hype or reality.
Barbados, renowned for its pristine beachfront and fantastic weather, continues to leave quite an impression on newcomers to the island and returning visitors. The Caribbean island, quite popular as a vacation hotspot, is not only beautiful due to its natural aesthetics. The island of Barbados continues to grow in popularity because of unique connections developed with our people, our culture. We can't wait to welcome you.
The International Cricket Council, the ICC, will be introducing a World Test Championship as well as an ODI League as part of its Future Tours program from 2018 to 2023. The ICC said in a release that the new tournaments came about as a result of a significant collective effort from the members with support from cricket's governing body. 9 top-ranked sides will participate in the inaugural edition of the World Test Championship, which will run from July 15th, 2019 to April 30th, 2020. The sides will play 6 series in the 2-year cycle on a home and away basis against opponents they have mutually selected. The 2 top-ranked sides will then progress to the June 2021 final to decide the World Test champions. Additionally, the 12 Test playing nations, along with the Netherlands, will participate in the 13-team ODI League, which will run from May 1st, 2020 to March 31st, 2022. All sides will play 8 series over a 2-year cycle on a home and away basis against mutually agreed upon opponents. And the ODI League will also act as a qualification pathway for the ICC Cricket World Cup 2023, which is set to be held in India. The hosts, along with the 7 highest-ranked sides in the ODI League as of March 31st, 2020, will qualify directly for the tournament, while the bottom 5 will have to play in the ICC's Cricket World Cup qualifier. The West Indies opening series in the World Test Championship will be against India at home in July 2019, and their first ODI series in the league will be against Netherlands in the Netherlands on July 2020. Shannon Gabriel's historic wicket-taking performance has propelled him to number 12 in the MRF Tires ICC Test Players rankings. He has moved 11 places up from 23. The burly West Indies fast bowler ended with astounding match figures of 13 for 121 in the drawn second Test match between West Indies and Sri Lanka, which ended on Monday at the Darren Sammy Cricket Ground in St. Lucia. It was the 3rd best bowling figures by a West Indian bowler and best by any fast bowler in international cricket in 17 years. Following his performance, Gabriel reached 754 rating points, surpassing his previous best of 636 points. Gabriel's teammates Roston Chase and Jason Holder had minor improvements in their bowling rankings. Chase moved 1 spot up to 38, while Holder moved up 1 place to 64. Staying with cricket, Carla Cohen provided some last over his heroics to lift Jamaica to an exhilarating 4-run win over arch-rivals Barbados to claim the CWI T20 Blaze title on Monday. Bowling the final over, Cohen conceded just 3 runs and snagged 2 wickets to help dismiss Barbados for 104, just short of their target of 108. Jamaica's bowling efforts were led by seamer Roxanne Otar, who took 3 wickets for 16 runs in her 4 overs, including the crucial wickets of Hayley Matthews, who got 30, and Deandra Dottin, who made 11. The result left the 2 teams level on 12 points, but the home side was awarded the title based on winning the head-to-head contest. TVJ's Renato Brown has that story.
A defeat to Trinidad and Tobago on Saturday night meant it was a winner-take-all affair between the unbeaten Barbados and the host Jamaica. Stefani Taylor was fit enough to play and was expected to lead the Jamaican batting charge. But it was Natasha McLean who led the way, scoring 42 and the team's total of 108 for 5 from their 20 overs. Skipper Taylor was next best with 38, as Deandra Doughton claimed 2 for 19 and Shakira Selman 2 for 24. Chasing 109 to win the match and the tournament, the Bajans carried the game to the final over, but still came up short at 104 all out. Haley Matthews, who was expected to lead the way, top scored with 30, while captain Shakira Selman, who was the 8th wicket to go, made 15. Brashana Ottar took 3 for 16 for the Jamaicans, while Carla Cohen added 2 for 20. With the Bajans needing 8 runs from the final over, Captain Stefani Taylor explained what the game plan was after a lengthy team meeting.
I just said to her that, just bowl slow and straight, because I pretty much know most of their batters, and I figured more likely bowling straight would have get the job done. So I thought she bowled really well in that last over.
Meanwhile, coach Glenn Smith says he was proud of the way his team defended the total.
We know it was always going to be tight. The pitch was very, very slow, and if we struggled to make 108 on this, then once we bowl in the right area, then Barbados is going to struggle, because we had a big partnership with McLean and our skipper Taylor, right? And they could not score higher than 108. So it was always going to be hard for Barbados to make it once we bowl in the right area.
Meanwhile, defending champions Trinidad and Tobago had to settle for 3rd place after defeating the Windward Islands to finish on 9 points. The Windward Islands could only muster 103 for 5 from their 20 overs, thanks mainly to an unbeaten 37 from Pearl Etienne. And Guyana also ended the tournament on a winning note, trouncing the Leeward Islands by 8 wickets. Evra Giddings' 4-wicket haul helped to rout the Leeward Islands for just 50 in 17.5 overs, as Guyana easily romped to 53 for 2 in 10.1 overs. And that's the sport. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc.
It starts from sunrise, a city filled with an island vibe, music, people, color, friendship, culture, and the warmest of smiles. Come enjoy the unique costumes, pulsating steel pans, exotic culture, exciting fetes, and unforgettable people. Discover Antigua's Carnival, the Caribbean's greatest summer festival, July 27th to August 8th, because the beach really is just the beginning.
Violence in schools, media hype or reality? That's the topic for discussion in the next UNICEF-sponsored Activate Talks right here on Carib Vision. Activate Talks is a global series by UNICEF designed to spark discussion on issues affecting children and youth. So join us at 8 p.m. on Wednesday, June 27th and find out about violence in schools. Media hype or reality? Again, the major developments of this day. Barbados is in the process of reviving its loan facility with the Inter-American Development Bank. And in sport, the ICC introducing a World Test Championship and an ODI League. Now that's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sport around the clock, subscribe to CaribNews.com. And for more of our programming, log on to CaribVision.tv and subscribe to CaribVision's YouTube channel. We'll be back here again tomorrow. But from all of us at CMC News, thank you for watching and do have yourselves a good night.